Welcome to ECSM Cricket. I am here with
Okolie.
Francis. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm very good. If you could just give us a little introduction as to who you are.
Well, as I've said, I'm Francis Okolie. I'm 21 years, and I'm a native of Anambra State, the eastern part of Nigeria, but I grew up in the west, and I've done business with those in the north, because I'm a business owner myself. So it's fair to say that I am an all-in-one kind of person. I speak Igbo, I speak Yoruba, I speak Hausa, and even better, I'm a cricketer. I mean, I'm an all-rounder. Fast bowler, right-handed batsman, handy fieldsman, the whole package. And other than that, on the side, I'm a cybersecurity enthusiast, a digital marketer to be precise, because I've worked for several firms, try to create brand awareness and give them an online presence. And that's what I do for my business as well, I do best footwears. So I listen to music on my downtime. I love having chats with friends and just being positive on the whole.
Okay, so Francis, let's talk about how we originally met when I came to Nigeria. Tell me what you had to say for yourself about me.
Okay, first off, well, the first time I saw you, what came across me was, wow, this is an Englishman, because your appearance was very, very different from what we know. And I thought I had to see what was in you. I had to hear you speak. I had to see you act. Then I moved closer and we started some conversation. I think that day, the day I met you, was there was the regional under-17s tournament going on, and I was assistant coach for the Ekiti State team, the under-17 team. And that day, the girls had just they played, and Ekiti State defeated Lagos State. That you weren't head coach back then, but you were back to be. So I think at the end of the day, we were sitting in a bus, and I was trying to talk you through some of the way Nigerian cricket works. And I thought, well, back then I was ignorant. I thought I knew it all, or at least I thought I knew most of it. I didn't realize I was talking to a level 2 cricket coach back then, and man, I was just telling you, you could do this better, you could do that better, because you had just told me that you weren't the head coach, but you were about to be. So I was thinking, okay, you could do some things different from what was actually going on back then, and you can get some results like this and like that. Little did I realize that what I was saying back then was getting you on your nerves, and you were looking at, I could see your reaction back then, but I didn't know what you were thinking in your head. It was a few years later when you were telling me that what I was saying was getting you really, really upset, and you were thinking in your head, who's this boy? What's he saying? All of that. But I kept rambling, and I thought I had all of that in check. But as the case may be, we came to the under-19s. I was playing for Ekiti State back then, and you were now the head coach.
We were bantering online, do you remember? You're telling me you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Are you going to do that? I said, you will meet the mountain of fire. Do you remember I told you? You will meet the mountain of fire.
That was the intro I got when I came into bat. Literally, the wicket keeper back then was, welcome to the mountain of fire, skipper, because I was the captain of the under-19 side back then. And we were like, welcome to the mountain of fire. And I just thought, well, they were trying to sledge me and get into my head, but I'm not going to react. I'm just going to come here and play. Because we had just gone through the first innings, and we had a very, very huge chase on our hands. I think Lagos scored about almost 300, 297 in about 20 overs. That was like a very, very big chase.
Which was a world record.
By the way.
Just to say it was a world record.
And what I hope doesn't repeat itself in any match I play in the future. I desperately hope that doesn't happen to me again. I think we didn't get up to 50 that day, and we were all bundled out. I scored a golden duck.
Duck. First ball, right?
A golden duck.
How did you get out?
Well, the bowler had me. It gave me an in swinger. At that time my technique was not all that sound, so I had issues with the forward defense and trying to drive the ball. But in my little knowledge of what I knew back then, I thought I could find my way across and play up around the line. But turns out I misjudged the ball completely, and then the ball just clattered my stumps.
And that was one of the most sweetest feelings. Watching as coach, just watching it, seeing the stump fly.
I remember
my
the
word.
celebration that day. It was like you had already won the trophy that day. Just my wicket alone. You were elated to see me get out there.
Now,
in that kind of fashion.
In that squad, we must also, just to bring things forward, who was the captain on the day?
You mean the Ekiti side?
No, the Lagos side.
If I'm not wrong, I think it's one of two people.
It was Ridwan.
Yeah, Ridwan Abdul Karim or Karim Gafar.
Gafar was the under-17s winning team.
Oh yeah.
Yes, if you remember.
That's true.
Gafar won the
That's
17s,
true.
and Ridwan was the 19s captain.
That's true. That's true. I remember now. But man, that is something I hope doesn't happen to me again.
Well, no, it was good. You just learnt the lesson. That's all. And for me, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful feeling. Lagos. I think that was the year Lagos actually won the under-17s tournament. I think under-17s.
It was a disastrous feeling for me. And, there's two sides of the coin, and as much as you were feeling good about yourself, I was feeling terrible about myself, man. It was like the world, the earth should just split open and swallow me at that moment.
That bad. You motivated me so much, because this young man is saying we need to do this. I said, you know what? He must never be given the room to speak like that again about Lagos State. As I was going in to become head coach, I said never. So I made it every day. I drilled into our young players, like we have to go and win this tournament. This Francis Okolie, we need to shut him up completely. And when he comes out to bat, he needs mountain of fire. And that day, everything pulled off well for us. We trained, we batted well, we bowled well, we fielded well. To me, cricket's a very simple game. Bat well, bowl well, field well. And we did all three things. And we played as a team. And on that day, we played that well. We won the championship. And, all credit to the players and everybody who was part of that team. After that, your inspiration. You inspired me to create the Ikorodu Community Cricket. You then inspired me to go on to create ECSM Cricket, as you know. So, after that, talk to me about how you became a part of ECSM.
Well, after that tournament, I remember we had a chat in your room, your hotel room that night, and we were talking about how I could develop my cricket and bring me to that next level. And I think then I was a 100 level student at Ekiti State University, and you just came to Nigeria and you were in Lagos. So we were trying to find a way to make it work, and somehow we didn't find one. But as time went on, I couldn't finish at Ekiti because financial restraints and all of that. I had to drop out of school and try to make ends meet for myself. I came down back to Ibadan, and somehow I reached out to you and said, well, coach, I'm back in Ibadan now. Is there any way we can make this work? And you said I should come down back to Lagos. I remember that day when you said I should come down to Lagos, I was excited. And I told my dad about it. And although it did take some persuading my parents before they allowed me to come out. And even my dad followed me out there. He came out with me that day to see you. And we chatted for a while, and Dad asked some questions. And I remember that was the year that they had the West Indies Win Ball tournament.
Yes.
We had Trinidad, we had Barbados, we had Antigua. And,
yes.
I think
you were a guest player.
Yeah, I was a guest player. Yeah, you mentioned that when you were making videos and preparations for that. So I spent about was it 3 days?
Yes.
I spent about 3 days in Lagos, and it was one of the best days of my life. I mean, I got to speak to you talk about myself. You got to see me play firsthand and saw where I was making mistakes and where I could make corrections. And I think that was the beginning of something wonderful, because as time went on, I went back to Ibadan, and I talked to my parents about letting me come back to live in Lagos full time. They were very skeptical. I mean, very, very skeptical. It took about 2 weeks to convince them. Each time I raise the topic up, they just shut me down and be like, I'm still a young boy, I don't know nothing. But within me, I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew that I wanted to be an international cricketer, and very, very great one at that. Because there's a difference between being an international, and then there's a difference between being an international and then being a consistent international. So I knew for a fact that I didn't just want to be an international, 1 or 2 cap players, and I'm out of the team. I wanted to be sure that I'm the kind of player that spends years in that team and make an impact.
On merit?
No, definitely.
Not favoritism?
No, definitely. Based on merit. So I came down to Lagos. I spent about a month with you and the rest of the ECSM family before I moved out to be on my own. I got myself an apartment, got myself a job. At first it was difficult, very, very difficult adapting. I came to talk to you about the issues I was facing and all of that. And I told you that I was having difficulties with coping and all of that. And then you told me that if I couldn't learn to live in Lagos on my own, that how could I live in another man's land on my own? And that stuck to me, and it stuck with me. And I asked myself, man, if you're going to have to do this, you have to go through this. This had to happen to you. This has to happen to you, so you can have an experience of what life is going to treat you, or what life was going to give to you when you actually start chasing your dreams.
Absolutely. How much do you want it? How serious are you?
Exactly. So I moved out here. Coach had some sessions with me. I met with the rest of the ECSM family, and I picked it up with them. It was quite easy for me because I have an easygoing personality. I'm friendly with virtually everyone. And
but there were challenges along the way, which
for sure.
In terms of personnel and getting on with people and stuff, because you had your ideas, they had their ideas, there were clashes. But then I could see you made changes, adapted.
That was, after that conversation with you, it changed something in my mind. And it made me realize that there were actually more than one kind of mindset. You taught me that.
Mm-hmm.
There was the fixed mindset and there was a growth mindset. There was the fixed mindset. That was the mindset I was bringing in when I was coming in at first. The mindset that I thought I can't do this, or I think I knew better than everyone else. Whereas it was actually all about growing and learning more along the way. And I think I took that up. I inculcated that to my way of life. And that got me to several things. I mean, many, many things. It got me to cybersecurity. Well, it's a very vast universe there. Cybersecurity is very vast. And,
talk to people about this cybersecurity opportunity, because people think that ECSM is just about cricket, which is, yes, cricket is important, and it is a way of life for me as a cricket coach, a professional coach of 25 years, but it also opened opportunities. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Well, the cybersecurity initiative was something that I'll be forever grateful for, because it shaped me. Truth is, while I was in school, I actually engaged in cybercrime. When you think there are fast ways to get money, but you fail to realize that those things are detrimental, because as much as you are making money, or you think you are making money for yourself, someone else is out there crying that they've been duped. And being a person that is in touch with the Almighty, it's unfair, because those tears are definitely going to get to God, and you'll be judged for that. You'll be questioned for that. That there are millions of ways to make money legitimately that doesn't involve someone crying that they've been ripped of their livelihood or their savings. There are better ways to do things out there. So ECSM introduced me to brighter futures because virtually all of us in the academy were introduced to that, so we will be able to learn about the harms of the dangers of cybercrime.
So, for the people who don't know, Brighter Futures and Thrive Online was was by the Home Office, the UK Home Office, and with the UK High Commissioner, working with in partnership with the Nigerian government, and so they gave me the opportunity to put proposals together for projects for outreach to reach vulnerable young people. And with the funding, we were able to run several projects, outreach projects, which included the Windball competition that you talked about, which included a cricket and football program, which they would play football after they did personal development sessions, classroom sessions every day. Do you remember the personal development sessions?
I remember that.
So we had mentors coming in doing classroom sessions about masculinity, self-confidence, self-belief, resilience, with some great topics. You remember?
Yeah,
great topics. And work with Neem Foundation as well, Clean Foundation. These were all the external partners that came in and worked with our young people, and Francis was one of the beneficiaries. Correct?
Yeah. Well, I would say I was one of the beneficiaries, and I knew very well that I didn't have a choice. I couldn't go back home, and I know for a fact that I wanted to make use of every opportunity that came my way. So I took it like my life depended on it. And after the first phase, because I think it was in 3 phases. Yeah.
Yes.
It was in 3 phases. It was the one that all of us partook in. That is, all of ECSM took part in. As time went by, the initiative looked at how much we've been able to do over the time that we've learned all we've learned, and decided to pick a few people for the next phase. And luckily for me, it turned out that I was the only one from the academy that was selected for the next phase, because, come to think of it, it was something that I've encountered before, and I wanted to learn more on it. And they saw the drive to learn more that was in me, and then they proposed to me to be a part of the second phase. And that was when I decided to take on digital marketing, because they proposed 4 different digital skills to me and asked me to pick one of them, of which there was graphics design, there was web development, there was cybersecurity, that's the course in itself, and then there was digital marketing. And knowing fully well, because I come from a line of businessmen and women, as my lineage is one of business people. So I knew that at a point my body would stop. I can't be able to play cricket at the level that I want to at a certain point. So I thought long term, and then I said, okay, since we are in the digital world, everything is going online now. I might as well become a digital marketer, so I can be able to put my services online and then get people to pay me for what I do. Then as time went on, I took on digital marketing, and that 4 weeks was one of the most intense, but yet one of the most memorable time of my life. It's because it was time that I had to wake up really early in the morning, beat Lagos traffic, with my colleagues that were learning with me from Okolie here, and try to make something of ourselves, because out there in the morning you just get up. That was the time that I fell in love with coffee, because you had to wake up early and then
adrenaline.
Get out there, learn. So you can't be sleepy, man. You can't zone out.
It's discipline.
So, and again, we were always in a room. We were constantly in a room that was full of air conditioning. So the weather was really chilly, the atmosphere was really chilly, and that could induce sleep in anyone. I mean, literally anyone. So I fell in love with coffee, and that kept me on my toes. I was able to learn as much as I can, practice as much as I can. I want to take this opportunity to shout out to everyone that made this possible, from SciSed to Tag International to Moses Joshua, Coach Toby, popularly known as Mayana, my facilitator, Miss Jessica, everyone. I mean,
Thank you.
all of Bayrak, all of Yemak, every single person that made me possible.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope you get to see
Thank you. And I want to take the opportunity to thank them for the partnership with ECSM. Our young people that got the opportunity to learn about cybersecurity definitely were aware of more of cybercrime and the dangers of it. So that was fantastic. I want to talk about another key point, flashpoint. The ICC World Cup Trophy Tour. Let us talk about that from your perspective. The young people travelling from Ikorodu to the stadium. Talk to us from your perspective how that all worked out.
Well, let me take you on a tour of my life. You know, I went to Government College Ibadan for my secondary school, and it turns out that GCI was a very big deal. I mean, it's a British model school, 1929 down to 2025. That means it's been not in existence for almost 100 years now. So at GCI we have a very big cricket culture, and I was bad at cricket when I started. And I mean, literally, no one is good at it when they start at first. I mean, I was so bad to a point that I got nicknamed Canopy of Whites. That name stuck. All the while I was in GCI, the name stuck. If I was to go 1 over, for each good ball I bowl, at least I'll bowl about 5 wides to come with it. It got to a point, the captain of the like my teammates or people that I played around with, they didn't like giving me the ball to bowl because they knew for a fact that I was a bonus to the batting side.
Liability. That's the right liability.
That really got to me physically, mentally, emotionally. I was unstable. I thought I could just call it quits, but it's not in me to quit at anything. So I took out time. I made out time. I practiced. I got better. At least I'm very sure now that I might not be at the level I want to be yet, but I've taken very huge steps. I mean, the improvements I've had so far coming down the years has been very, very massive. So I took time. I remember one Friday I was coming back home from school and I just felt the urge to walk into a movie shop. I just wanted something. I told the man what I wanted. I told him I wanted a cricket movie. The man was looking at me, what is cricket? Where do I want to start to look for that one from? Then he told me to just take a tour of the shop. And then I was walking around and I saw this Indian movie, MS Dhoni, The Untold Story. And I saw Dhoni wearing a helmet and there was a cricket bat with him. I said, yes, I found my choice. I found what I wanted. And I took that movie home. I had to starve myself to make sure that I got that movie. So I took that movie home. I sat down. I watched it. I saw Dhoni's story. That's Dhoni. For those that don't know, MS Dhoni, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, was the captain of India in 2011 when they won the World Cup. That happened to be Sachin Tendulkar's last World Cup, and somehow
He
India
also
managed to pull it.
also happened to be my coach, Gary Kirsten's. That was the team that he coached.
So that I had no idea back then that was what was happening. But I watched Dhoni's story and it inspired me to keep going, because Dhoni might not be, it might not have the story that I have, but it was very similar, coming from almost the same background as he, and then my parents not being able to afford all of the fancy equipment and all of that. So we had to make do with what we had, and it inspired me a lot to continue down this path. And I'm speaking now from the bottom of from the depth of my heart. MS Dhoni, thank you so much, because your story meant a lot to me. And I hope one day I get to meet with you and tell you how much it means to me. But that's by the way. Then when I came down to Lagos, it was the first month, like full time I came down to Lagos. It was the first month I was spending with family. And coach here told me that the World Cup is coming to Nigeria. I was like, huh? What World Cup is coming to Nigeria? He told me the ICC World Cup. I was like, is this man joking or something? Coach, are you sure you're fine? The way he looked at me, I just told you what I told you. The ICC World Cup is coming down and we're getting ready for that. I asked for the date. He told me it was somewhere at the end of August. I locked my mind in for it. And I remember we came down the bus. We were about more than 300 kids that day from Ikorodu, yeah, went out there to see the World Cup. And we came down from the bus at TBS, and the World Cup wasn't around yet, but I could see all the fanfare around it. And I was thinking, goodness me, look at all of the fanfare around this. What if we were playing in the World Cup? How much bigger can this get? Then we all sat down, we were watching, we saw players from the national team walking. Some of them, I knew them. I had some chat, talked to some of them, and then, it was actually what it was. And they walked by. Then the time came and the World Cup trophy was in our presence. Like, I could see the World Cup trophy live in front of me, and I was starstruck, man. I was dumbfounded. This is the trophy that all of the world's greatest players have competed for. The greatest 11 to lift the World Cup. I've seen Australia lift it on several times. I've seen India lift it on several occasions. England as well, the most recent one. So much.
Don't forget the West Indies.
The big boys.
The big boys.
But now, you see, what struck me was that this was a trophy that many legends have lifted in the past. And I made a vow to myself that even if I don't get to lift this trophy, that the time will come where I'm going to compete for this trophy. That if Nigeria hasn't gotten to that level yet, that I had it in me to take Nigeria to that level. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of responsibility for one shoulder to carry. But I want to trust the Almighty that, not even I want to, I trust the Almighty that would be my reality. I remember talking to Glenn, I think it's
Glenn Wright.
Glenn Wright, yeah.
He's the ICC global manager.
I remember talking to him and telling him that Nigeria was going to come out at subsequent World Cups and show what we are made of. And then he told me something that I still remember till the day I leave this earth, that he waits for that day. And you see, I think this year, the Nigerian female team, the Nigerian under-19s, did something fantastic. They had a very, very fantastic World Cup campaign. And I want to believe that this crop of players will do just right. And I'm looking forward to the male team as well, to actually compete and show the world what we are made of. We are not just there to make up the numbers. We are actually there to compete, to rub shoulders with the big boys and let them know that cricket is here to stay, that cricket is one of our heritage. The Indians that are playing cricket right now, cricket came to them. They embraced cricket. They adopted cricket. Talk about the West Indies. It wasn't the original game, but they adopted it. And they became so good at it that they were world champions consecutively.
Absolutely.
talk about players like Courtney Ambrose, Courtney Walsh, Brian Lara, so many big names that cricket has put out in the global light. That we have the tendency, we have the potential to go out there and put our names on the cricket world map. That yes, Nigeria is a country that is here to stay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So just as much as football is the big thing here, cricket can also be a very big thing here. And I'm very, very confident of that day when it comes. The World Cup tour was a day that I'm never going to forget. I mean, it's the day that consolidated all of what is.
The thing, you had the microphone, you were given the microphone as well.
Yeah, I remember,
remember?
that. Yeah. I was asked to give a vote of thanks because I didn't realize it, but the NCF president was there, and he saw my reaction to seeing the World Cup live because I was emotional, and man, it's something that sticks with me till tomorrow. It's a very big opportunity for me, and I'm very grateful for all of those that made it work.
Another highlight, again, that was under ECSM. Another highlight, Tiwa Tiwa Television.
Aha.
You remember that?
My first appearance on TV.
With Simeon Uru.
Man, it was a very, very wonderful experience. I mean, on set, I didn't know that there were so many protocols you had to follow on set.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You can't say some things on set, and
Yeah.
that was the first time I was realizing on that. So shout out to all the newscasters, all of the anchors out there that are doing their thing.
It was
you
great.
guys are the real heroes.
Thank you. It was
You
great.
are-
I
you
love
are
the
a great
opportunity.
job.
I love the opportunity to be on Tiwa Tiwa Television, being a co-host. It was amazing. It was a great. Some of the best times I had in Nigeria was in that studio discussing football and cricket
Yeah.
and.
Man, it was fantabulous. Pardon my English.
Yeah, fantabulous. No, it was.
I was in Ibadan some time ago. I think about some years ago, rather. That was when you started going out to Tiwa Tiwa.
Yeah.
I was working, and I turned on the TV, and I was seeing you live on TV, and I'd be like, what? This is it. How did it get here? And the same feeling that I had when I saw Ingram on TV was the same feeling I had when I saw myself on TV.
There you go.
I mean, my friends that were around me that night when the interview aired.
What happened that night when you showed your friend? Tell me about it and your feedback you got.
Okay. A friend of mine, because that was when I started living in Lagos. Some of my friends that were with me that night when I saw the TV, when I saw myself on TV, said, Francis, you don't blow. That's pidgin dialect.
Yeah, you don't
what
blow.
What it means,
Yeah.
translated to literal English, it means that I've actually gone very far. And that I'm a big man now.
Big man, yes.
I said, I'm not a big man, though. This one that is here was someone that took me there. I'm really grateful for all the opportunities. I showed it to my mom and my dad. I showed it to my sisters back home and my brothers back home, and they were very excited for me. They said a prayer for me, and I pray that the Lord Almighty answers that prayer.
So in all of these experiences you've had through ECSM, up to 2025, what's been your biggest takeaway?
My biggest take home is never say never, because as much as you think you know it all, you don't know anything. You only keep learning. And by keeping that attitude to learning, you give yourself an opportunity to become better with each passing day. And that is the most important thing. 1% better every day.
Yeah, you're making a difference every day. 2025, we're here now. Talk to me about that moment you got a tap on your shoulder.
You see,
So talk about a year on, what happened in that time, and then obviously now, just briefly.
All right. I went back to Ibadan because I had already saved some money, and I had this business idea in mind I wanted to establish. And then coupled with all of what I had learned here in Lagos, I decided to implement all of that for myself. So I went out back to Ibadan, to my roots, and I started a footwear shop. There I sell wholesales and retail, and I also continued my cricket. But when I went back to Ibadan for like 6 months, I didn't do anything cricket related because I wanted to ensure that the business was actually standing. So I took out time after the whole festive season and all of that. I worked on my fitness, and then I got back to the pavilion at Liberty Stadium. Then, as it may be, I didn't realize at that moment that there was an Indian competition going on back then. So I just walked out to the nets and I saw some group of Indian players practicing in the net. And then I thought to ask them to give me a chance to practice with them. Then they gave me the ball, and they gave me a ball rather, and I started to do my thing. And as it may be, they were quite impressed with what they saw, and I was offered a contract on the spot to play for them for that season. It was surreal. It was a very fantastic feeling for me. It was a win ball tournament, but we all start from somewhere. So that was the cricket that was available for me at that moment, and I had to take it. So I had played fewer innings than every other person in that tournament, but somehow I managed to get to the top 3 highest wicket takers in that tournament. I think I finished number 2. I finished with about 9 wickets that season. We're talking about a few months ago now. I think sometime around January, February time. So we're now pre-season. I'm trying to get back to, after a few weeks of inactivity, not playing cricket, I'm trying to get back to my rhythm, trying to get back to things I used to do in the past. So 2025 is here now, and I've got big plans for the year, and I pray that everything works out to the will of the Almighty.
The tap on the shoulder.
Yeah, now back to the tap on the shoulder. You see, when I got the call that I should come down to Lagos, that there was this function I had to attend, I said, well, for the fact that it's the family that called me, I'll have to show up. There's nothing holding me back from showing up. And then I came around, I walked in, and I noticed there was a PlayStation right outside. Now there are young kids in the house, and as much as they like to play games, they don't play that kind of sophisticated game. A PS4 outside with several game stacks right beside it. And it got me thinking, is it that some of the ECSM players have been around, or are they around? I was just trying to find an answer to the question. And I was thinking of asking Mrs. Tosin if any ECSM player has been around recently, until I felt someone tap my shoulder. And then I turned, looked, and I saw you. Man, I was so surprised. No one told me. And then the best part of everything was that my parents knew you were in town, but then they were told not to tell me until I had arrived.
Yes.
So when I came and I saw you, and we were like, I was hugging you and welcoming you back home, my dad rang, and he called me Stosin and asked if I had arrived, and then she told him yes, and she gave me the phone that my dad wanted to talk to me. And then I picked the phone, I was talking to dad, yo, come on, you people, you knew that coach was around and no one told me nothing. And that told me it was supposed to be a surprise that coach had already talked to him and then all of that. That he didn't want me to know that you didn't even want anyone to know that you were back in town. So it was a very, very surprising feeling. And at the same time I was very excited to have you around because then it would mean that I get to have someone to answer some questions for me. I mean, observe some things for me and tell me what I'm doing wrong and then not even try, put me back on track.
So what was it like? Just the short session period we have working, what did you discover?
I discovered that there's been a couple of things I've been doing wrong all along, especially my batting. Because now, while I was playing for the Indian side, I didn't really get too much chances with bats because, well, as much as I'm an all-rounder, I tend to bowl more than I bat. Now that doesn't mean that I'm still not good with the bat when it comes down to actually scoring runs.
Mm-hmm.
But something happened and I scored another duck for them. And now scoring ducks is not a pleasant feeling, but
Double O. It's triple O.
Getting the yellow duck walking with tears on his
we'll have to call you triple O zero. Triple O zero.
No, anyone that calls me triple O.
Well, hold on, I can call you at 0 in Ibadan, 0 in Ikorodu, and 0 in Indian League. Wahala.
Pro Max. I mean Wahala Pro Max. Serious one.
Don't worry. All we have to do
Anyways.
is add a 1. It'd be 100. Be okay.
Definitely. I'd want it. I'd be 100. But then I prefer those zeros
Yes.
on my bowling. I mean, bowling dot balls.
Yes.
Yeah. That is something I want to do as consistently as possible.
There we go.
But then, the short session we had yesterday,
Mm.
it demonstrated to me, or it made me realize some places that I'm actually having issues with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now there are some shots that I can play it comes naturally to me.
Yeah.
And then there are some shots that I have to work extra hard
Mhm.
on to make sure that I get them right. So, I mean, the way I hold my bat, then how I come down to plate, my shot selections,
Mm-hmm.
that is the reason why I'm going out on zeros several times.
The elbow.
Because- exactly. There will be times that the ball comes down short and then I just play a predetermined shot without
Mhm.
actually looking at the ball movement to determine the kind of shot I'll play for it. And that was what you made me realize yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very, very sure that by the time I go back to the drawing board, that I'm going to make all of these changes. Because there was something I did when I was working with my bowling, and when you were working with my bowling, and you were telling me to do some things to correct my arm, and then making sure my arm brushes my ear to maintain
Straight on.
a straight arm. I did something because my apartment had the backyard had this 22-yard within it, and it was just me. Not everyone was always around me to practice with me, so I made the most of my opportunity and got myself a bottle, a small bottle, filled it up with water, then left it at the striker's end. Then I counted 22 yards, went out, set my the non-striker's end, then took my run up, draw up the crease and all of that. And then I would bowl to that bottle consistently, consecutively. And owing to the fact that I work online while I was in Lagos, they afforded me time to be able to practice. So I had loads of hours of practices. Come rain, come sun, you can always come down to Shulebo and ask about Francis. I mean, you would always get that review about me being the cricketer that practice day in and day out, night time, daytime, when it is sunny, when it was rainy. when I was sick, when I was healthy. I just didn't care about all of those. I just wanted to get it right. Because, that feeling when you hit the bottle or you were able to use the ball to knock the bottle off and the bottle just tumbles, it gave me fantastic feelings. Even though I might try 100 times to knock that bottle off and succeed for about only 5 times, but that 5 times that I was successful at it, it gave me this kind of euphoria that I can actually do this. Because if I can knock off a bottle, a short bottle for that matter, from that distance with the kind of ball I'm bowling, that definitely if I put myself out there, that I'm going to knock wickets off consecutively, consistently, hitting the mark every time.
What would be your message to ECSM cricketers that are still training?
Well, my message to the rest of the family that is out there, because ECSM is my family now. ECSM is the family that I have in Lagos. So I'm going to reach out to every one of you and tell you all that you never stop grinding. 24/7, you should always be on your toes. And then when you're on your toes, you make sure that you're doing the right thing. Because doing the right thing when no one is watching will mean you will always do the right thing when everyone is watching.
Correct.
So that is my message to everyone.
Francis Okolie.
Yes, sir.
Lord Francis Okolie.
Okolie. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great
It's been a
interview.
pleasure.
Thank
It's
you.
been a very, very big pleasure.